we have a chance to try to extend our season record to 12 games. And that's important for us, and that's the only thing that's really pretty much on my mind. And I think I speak for the masses when I say that. Defense is playing great. Special teams getting great field position. The offense is winning. The point of attack. We found ways to win.
You can't get to there until you take care of what's next.
I want to be number one.
Do you think you are the best?
Right now, at the time in life and where I'm playing at, yes.
What's the deal, Panther fans? That's right, 11-0. Oh yeah, Joe, I'm happy to be here tonight on the C3 podcast, talking about the Carolina Panthers from the fan perspective. Joe, how does it feel to be 11-0?
It feels so good to be alive right now at this time in my life, because my team, your team, our team is undefeated.
Undefeated, baby. Undefeated. Joe, we've got a fun show tonight coming up. First of all, I got to say, it's been a hell of a week for me. We've got Advent starting today. And we've put a tribute up on CarolinaCatChronicles.com. And day number 1, Cam Newton. So check out the 25 days of Christmas coming to C3, where Dan Rawlinson from all the way from the UK, Joey, is going to be highlighting our favorite players throughout Panther season. So I thought that was a pretty nifty idea.
Very good idea. I look forward to that.
Also, let me see. I think Mel sent it to me earlier. The C3 Fantasy Football League just hit the playoffs, right? Starting this week. And that is the biggest, baddest Carolina Panthers fantasy football challenge out there. 48 teams, Joe, have battled all season long, and 12 enter a super playoff where they will be playing for $300, and a Shaq Thompson jersey goes to the grand prize winner. It's a pretty hell of a contest, ain't it, Joe?
It is. It really is. It is, because it's all Panther fans. It's for a really cool rookie. It's his jersey who's making an impact this year. And it only cost you $34.
Yeah, 34, 37.
Yeah.
There's some little bonuses in there. Everybody's winning Panther fan paraphernalia. Real fun. Here, I'm going to run through the winners. Just a congratulations to the people that made the Super Bracket Challenge from the Mills League. Rochester Rusty Nails, Norman D Invasion, Team Keep Pounding are the 3 leagues. So congratulations in the Mills League. From the Rucker League, we've got Team at Keep Pounding, Caddyshack, and Team The Winners. From the Mentor League, we've got Green Eggs and Cam, Pimpin' Ain't Ely, Team LC3. And from the Moose League, we've got Johnny Manziel's Drinking Buddy, Cam Abdullah's Oblongata, and Team Fabulosa. Tennessee Titans not making it in the playoffs, but she's made it to the Super Challenge.
Watch out, guys. She is a player.
She is a shark. She's a shark. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining the not the C3 Fantasy Football Podcast. This is a C3 podcast. I don't even know what hour of the day it is, Joe.
You're that excited about being 11-0.
I know. I was about to jump out my skin. I was all wow about it. Tonight's show, Joe, breaking bones, breaking records, and breaking narratives. Episode 15.43, rocking and rolling. The Panthers are 11-0. Whether the league likes it or not, call it the worst undefeated team or the best in the NFL. Either way, the Panthers are on the precipice of clinching the division. It's a team that struggled to get to 7 games last year. It hasn't lost a regular season game, and I can't remember when. Joey, this team is special, and tell them how they can jump in and talk about this special team with the show tonight.
Look, you C3 fans out there, we do this for you fans because we ourselves are fans, and we want to hear from you. So make sure to comment via Twitter using the hashtag C3 because we want you to get in on what's hot. Finish that thought and backdoor friction.
That's right.
Now brought to you by Used Butt Lube. And as always, we want to hear who you would pick for those frigid ice up picks this week. So please use the hashtag C3 and join in our conversation. We want to hear your perspective.
Yeah, that perspective and all the people entering the C3 Fantasy Football Challenge.
Straight cash, homie.
Straight cash. All right. Now it's time to get into what's hot on C3.
Austria. Good day, mate. Let's put another shrimp on the barbie.
No, I'm just getting warmed up. Here's Charlie facing the fire, and there's George hiding in Big Daddy's pocket.
Dylan and Dylan, because I spit hot fire.
Take a flamethrower to this place.
What's hot on C3? Joey, if the Panthers beat the Saints on Sunday, according to Pro Football Focus, they win the NFC South. The Panthers, they say, can also win the NFC South even if they lose, as long as the Falcons lose to the Bucks, and the Panthers can clinch a playoff spot even if they lose to the Bucks, and even if the Seahawks lose to the Cardinals and the Packers lose. It's kind of complicated, but the Panthers could just win and they've clinched, right? That would
Sounds easy to me. Let's just do that.
Yeah. The other ways, all these other people losing, which I probably could happen, right? I mean,
Sure.
the Seahawks to the Cardinals, you can see that.
Definitely.
And you've got the Packers if they lose, right? I think that gets it done. So what do you think about this? We're on the precipice, Joey, three-peating. I mean, that's going to happen. The Panthers are going to win this division. There's no way.
We called it from even before the start of the season, Tony. We were so confident in the knowledge that we were going to win this division a third consecutive time that we busted out some T-shirts. We made the C3 peak T-shirts before the season even began. We were ready.
Before training camp. Yeah.
Yes, we were ready. We knew it. We were that confident in this team. Now, I won't lie. None of us thought 11-0.
11-0.
Nobody thought that. Nobody thought that. But we knew that we were good enough to win the division, and something has happened to this team. This team has really, the chemistry is amazing. There's so much I want to say about this team, but we will get into that.
Tons of it. Joey, and the prospects for this team, we don't want to say them. Missy on Twitter says that our T-shirt prophecies coming true. I'm not going to say the other words that we're all thinking, but you all know that the Panther fans would love to be a part of the season that shattered champagne bottles, Joey.
Exactly.
I'm not going to say the words, but think about this: the continued problems that we have faced, or at least the condescension from the media. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Panthers doing all the right things, but never being the team to beat, right? Imagine if that champagne bottle smashed all of that criticism. That would be the most special thing to be a part of. That would transform this franchise, this fan base, don't you think? Imagine the catalyst with Cam Newton there, Luke Kuechly at that moment. That would be powerful.
Yeah, this this city, the city of Charlotte, the franchise, would totally be looked at in a completely different light. It would forever.
Transformed.
Yes, it would transform the city, the franchise, the team. There's so. I'm not even going to say it either, but you know what
No.
we're talking about.
We're not going to talk about it, but everybody's thinking about it.
Yes.
Right? Dallas game was a blowout, and it felt good.
God, it did.
I'm thankful for Dallas's. On Thanksgiving, I said I was thankful for Cowboy fans' misery. You know, it was a nice win on one of the largest stages. Did you get your turkey fill that day with that win?
Oh yeah, I got my turkey fill, but really the most satisfaction I received that whole day was the win against the Cowboys. Out of the woodwork, with all the misery the Cowboys have had and all the crap that was talked by these fans after just winning one game since Romo had come back. They were losers of like the previous 7 and then win one, and all of a sudden they're going to be world beaters.
It was intolerable. Oh, it was intolerable.
It was. I was so sick of it. My uncle's a Cowboys fan, and he was just talking about this and that, and I really didn't say much because I didn't want to hurt his feelings, him being family and all. But when the game was over, I just gave him a look, and he knew exactly what that look meant. But yes, it's sickening. I cannot stand the Cowboys fans because they just think.
I hate them worse than I hate the team.
Yeah, me too. That's exactly the case.
I didn't even really have a problem with the team. I didn't feel like I always, I never really nobody ever rubbed me the wrong way on that team. But the fans do. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I know a guy, Joey, that we rolled back with back in the day, and he's older, and his name is Mark. And I'm going to say his last name. But he's a Cowboy fan, Joe. And he was always very kind of coarse in the way that football interaction occurred with him.
Right.
He wasn't ever terrible, but you could tell underneath there was some Dallas intolerable.
Yes.
It just was. I mean, even afterwards, one dude, Mel, tweeted us, who's not on the show tonight. Mel, we can't wait to get you back, brother. One guy tweeted Mel, and he said if Romo hadn't thrown those 2 picks, they would have won. And then some Panther fan tweeted him back, and he said he threw 3. It just seemed illogical. All right, so what does the win mean for us still on that scale, Joey?
The win, obviously the win was great. Okay. I wish I could say it shut up some doubters and made some haters into believers, but it wasn't. For me personally, it wasn't that big of a win, because I knew the Cowboys were trash, and I know that the Panthers are just a better team. But I guess, we got another nationally televised game that there was a lot of hype about, surprisingly. I don't know why, maybe more so for the Cowboys than the Panthers. It was a slap in the face. You're making the Cowboys favorites and the odds makers. But it wasn't.
Joey, at one point, Joey, all the commentators before Fox and CBS, on CBS, Tony Gonzalez was the only person that picked the Panthers to win.
Right. And
on Fox, there was like 8 dudes that picked the Cowboys and 2 picked the Panthers. And then Skip Bayless comes out and says that the Cowboys should have been 4-point favorites in this game. What kind of nonsense is that, brother?
That's exactly what it is. It's nonsense. Skip Bayless is an idiot. Flat out idiot. He sees he can see it with his own eyes how much more talented the Panthers are than the Cowboys, but he refuses to believe it. I mean, it's plain to see that you have the two teams side by side, and maybe the roster isn't as flashy as the Cowboys, but you look at the product on the field, and it's not even close.
I think our roster is more flashy than the Cowboys. Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis. I mean, what names do they have that are big? You think that Dez Bryant is a bigger name in football than Cam Newton? I don't think so.
Well, them being America's team.
Well, they have a big fan base, but
right.
Here is the thing: is that the Panthers seem to take notice of this. They came out fired up. It was bulletin board material. Ron Rivera was even kind of smug about it in his press conferences, reminding the last time this happened and how they walked in there and crushed dudes 44-0 when he was with the 85 Bears. And Josh Norman, and I think after the game, Joey, we got to see some emotion from some players. Clearly, Josh Norman is a very outspoken and emotional player. He spoke out, said that Dez Bryant quit in the first quarter. And they got into a fight right off the bat. Not a fight, but a verbal war on the very first play. What did you think about that, Joey? The first play?
I thought that was awesome. That really got me pumped up because that was Josh Norman letting Dez know, hey, you don't run this. I don't care if this is your house. I run things here. And he sure did. He sure did. He shut him down.
And you know what? I think here's the thing is Josh Norman is really kind of being himself. You know, it's not a front, his kind of bravado when it comes to his confidence in play. He's always had that. You know, he's got that chip on his shoulder, and you know what was cool about that, and I think you just implied it, is that he didn't shrink in the face of the big lights, the big stage, and the big opponents. He straight said, yeah. Just stood up.
It's so funny you say that because I listened to Mike and Mike this morning, and they had Ron Rivera on at 9 o'clock this morning. And they were talking about different players, and Josh Norman's name came up. And, Rivera said about him that while he was at Coastal, he was a big fish, because he was a great player at a pretty small school. Got drafted, came to the NFL. He kept that same attitude. But he wasn't really working the way they wanted him to work. He wasn't putting in the effort. He always had that bravado and that, braggadociousness.
Yeah.
He always
That's a good way of putting it.
So they kind of didn't like what they were seeing from him. So even Ron said, well, he was in a doghouse for a little while. But then, a year and a half later, he comes to training camp. He's working hard. They finally realized, hey, this kid is not meant for this type of system. This kid wants to play this type of football. So they said, look, we're going to let you play this kind of football. You just have to, keep putting out the effort. And we're going to let you be you. We don't want to change who you are. And he is that in your face, I'm the best. What can you do against me kind of a player? And I think that's just so perfect how you said, he is that kind of guy when I just heard Rivera repeat that or say that this very morning.
One thing about Rivera that is kind of neat, by him being on the 85 Bears, we think so much of the best defense ever in the history of football, right?
Right.
But another thing about that team is that there were personalities on that team. There were, it had a charisma to it, a style. I don't like the word swagger. I think it's overused, and I think it's kind of weak and lame. I feel like it's like when your parent, it's when I tried to use Snapchat, Joey, like twice. And I just was like, man, I'm 34 years old now. I was 33 at the time. I just felt I'm a little old for Snapchat. Like once I start using Snapchat, I'm gonna ruin it. So I feel like so many people use the word swagger, and it's like my grandma saying it.
Exactly.
So I don't like that. But Rivera isn't. I think that experience maybe doesn't make him as threatened by positive, bold personalities. Where someone who maybe had an experience in the past where a bold personality like a Ocho Cinco or something like that ruins your attitude about a kind of brashness to the team. But I think it's important for winning. So
I do too, and I think that you're exactly right when you talk about the personalities that they had on that Bears team. Ron Rivera saw how it sort of brought the team closer as opposed to, splitting them apart. Everybody was their own character and they meshed. And they didn't try to be something that they weren't, and that's something we've done and done well.
What do you think? I like there needs to be a grittiness to a team. A team that's going to win the Super Bowl can't be soft. Team, I think that when you get to the playoffs, I think we forget this when it comes to all the predictions, all the media coverage. And in this sense, I'm not talking about I'm not saying media in a negative way. There's so much blanket coverage in the media of everything, right? Joe, I hear somebody talking in the background, but what I was going to say is that there's so much coverage, 360 coverage all the time when it comes to these things that sometimes it shades the fact that football gets mean and nasty towards the end. Like them dudes are blowing people up and beating each other up, and you don't need to be all fancy at the end. You need to be the meanest dude on the block.
Yes. You need to have the attitude. That you need to have it's like an endurance. You know what I'm saying? It's endurance. You got to have it all the way till the end of the year. And in the playoffs, it actually gets kicked up a notch. You know what I mean? You got more people. You have more people who are wanting it more. And so you have to be able to bring it harder. So I think it's much like a marathon, as opposed to a sprint.
Right.
And
Charles Johnson even said he said somebody on Twitter paraphrased him, but he deleted the tweet. He didn't say, he said something like 10-0 and y'all talk about they're the best offensive line. Yeah. We're the best, he said something kind of like that. And another dude on Twitter kind of paraphrased it and basically said, Romo's blood is on your hands, Dallas offensive line. I felt like Charles Johnson coming back, that being outspoken, maybe that's kind of as much leader. I won't say leadership, but he's not a this is going to be my team type guy. He is I'm a lunch pail guy.
Right. And that's it. He leads most of the time. He leads by example. What he does out on the field is where his leadership is, and he expects people to see that and adjust accordingly. He's not a rah kind of guy.
All right, last thing before we get on, we've got a guest coming on tonight's show. We've got an opportunity to talk with Pro Football Spot writer tonight, later in the second half of the show, Joey. But the Panthers, before we get on to the Saints, the Panthers, Joey, Colin Jones, we've seen had some of his worst moments, or at least we've seen moments where he stood out in the last 2 weeks, and it seemed kind of in a bad way. And it comes back. It sounds like Tillman won't be back for a couple more weeks. So Carolina went out, and just speaking of that, I didn't even think about this. The grittiness we were just talking about with Josh Norman and all of that jazz. They went out and bought. They did buy him. Bad boy Cortland Finnegan. What do you think about this move, Joey? Is it kind of like trying to go out and get a defensive Steve Smith that should be one of the big guys on a Mighty Ducks team?
No. I think what this move, unfortunately, I think what this move shows us is that Peanut is not rehabbing in a way that they expect to see him back sooner rather than later. And yes, Colin Jones was a liability this past week, and we got, thankfully, it didn't cost us the game in any way, but it's something that teams can definitely see and use in their game plan to attack us. And I think the Panthers, seeing these things, realize, hey, we need to bring in some help. And Cortland Finnegan was available. Actually, I thought about him in the preseason, when we were getting our roster put together. I thought, well, he might not be that bad. He was a player at one point. God knows he likes to fight. But he was a player at one point. He was pretty good.
He likes to get beat up.
Well, right, when he's fighting Steve Smith.
And Andre Johnson. But all right, so Cortland Finnegan added to get a little depth. We'll talk more about him later on, not tonight, but you can check out C3 for the latest news on that. Joining us tonight on the C3 podcast, all the way from Duck Dynastyville in West Monroe, Louisiana, we've got guest analyst Sean Williams. Sean is the lead and staff manager of the New Orleans Saints of the New Orleans Saints for ProFootballSpot.com. Sean, welcome to the C3 podcast.
Thank you guys for inviting me.
Tough week for the Saints last week, right?
You're going to have to be more specific. That could be anything over the last month.
Okay, we'll broaden the horizons to more than a week. Losing to Houston's, well, that is something to be ashamed of a little bit, isn't it?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I don't really believe that the loss to Houston was nearly as brutal as the one to the Redskins.
Okay.
All things considered. I mean, Houston's not a bad team. The Redskins are an awful team.
Really?
But in the grand scope of things, one loss is as good as another at this point.
Truly.
Joey, you agree with that the Skins are worse than the Texans?
Well, we've seen some really good play. We've seen a 24-point comeback from the Skins against the Bucks. Okay, we did see that. So there's that. I think the Texans are an improving team. The last few weeks they seem to be getting it together. And they do have J.J. Watt, let's be honest about that. He is a beast.
He is.
But I don't know. What was the score of that Redskins game with the Saints?
47-14, I believe.
Oh, yeah, that was a walloping.
That's pretty brutal.
Well,
Yeah.
That's pretty
For
brutal.
me, I'm taking into consideration the team that was on the field for New Orleans in that game. That team, all practical intents and purposes, they packed it in before halftime. I was telling Joey earlier, that team was reminiscent of the team that was on the field for New Orleans when Peyton was out for the season, suspended. Right. It was really that bad. No energy, complete total lack of effort, lack of execution. It was terrible.
And now that saying that about that score and to who you let put up 47 points, I would have to agree and say that was a worse beatdown than the Texans.
I want to know this. Here, let me ask you this, Sean, is how are the Saints this bad? Not just how are they this bad, but was there any plan going into this season for what they were going to be? The defense is a mess. The offense is a shell of what it used to be. At some point, is the architecture of this season flawed?
You would have to think so. Yeah, absolutely. thinking in general terms, yeah, I would like to think that there was a plan going in, but week 12 now, obviously it hasn't taken, and I don't know how much of that plan was made to include Rob Ryan in that defense, but that's all gone to dust in the wind at this point. So,
well, Joey, when he says that, I don't know how much the defense is going to be a part of it. Last time I checked, the defense has to play every game.
Right, and
it seems like it is atrocious.
It is. Don't say it seems. It is. It is. Their last. I saw. Did you see the tweet that Chocolate Wonderland put out? Panther Nasty. And it had the Saints ratings for like defense, yards, points, turnovers. It had like 5 or 6 different categories, and they were 30th, 31st, or 32nd in all of the categories that he had up. And these were big, important categories. Now, what I want to know is, Rob Ryan didn't have the defense so hot or so great last year. What did they think was going to be different this year? You know, they.
That's a really good question. And to be completely honest with you, I was completely shocked that at the end of the season last year that he got a pass. When they announced,
I agree. I think
when they announced that Dennis Allen was being added to the staff, and they didn't fire Rob Ryan, I told everyone they would listen. This is not a picking up a decent coach to add to this is a contingency plan for when they fire Rob Ryan. At whatever point during the season they choose to do it, they'll have a backup plan in place.
Well, the
we were talking
implosion.
about this, Tony. Remember, like not but maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, we were talking about Rob Ryan being gone before the season's over if he has another couple of bad games.
He should have. I agree. He should have been done before the beginning, though.
Yes, he shouldn't have made it into this year. He should have been done last year.
When I look at the Saints, I think that it looks like they blew up their team, and then just said, "Well, we're going to ride a season out with Drew Brees and try to get enough wins to not scare off everybody." But how does that when you're a team and that is the plan? How do they, and you're on this skid, like you said, they played so bad, Sean. How do they get up for a game against the Panthers? Is it the fact that it's an undefeated team with an opportunity to knock them off?
I think that's going to have to enter into it, yeah. I mean, for a division rival and some of the recent history between these two teams, yeah. Excuse me. Ending Carolina's perfect season, it would definitely be something to try to motivate the guys.
Sure.
Now, in all likelihood, all three of us, I believe, would know that that's not likely, but it's possible.
Oh, certainly. It's a division game. Joey, do you find the Panthers, at this point, every week that goes by, the pressure mounts for the Carolina Panthers?
The bullseye gets bigger and bigger every week.
So the Saints.
I've been really amazed by the Panthers. I've watched them probably the last, at least bits and pieces over the last, say, a month, some of their games. And you can watch Newton and Olsen and even some of those guys on defense and watch them play, and it's like these guys don't even know they're undefeated. And that's a good thing.
Right, I agree.
In that it doesn't appear that the pressure of being undefeated, so to speak, it doesn't register with them.
Yeah, I don't think that pressure. I think that's a great point in that it's not the pressure that's undefeated that registers with these guys. What they register, Joe, and what we were talking about in the beginning of the show, is they're just going out there and saying, "I'm going to punch you in the face." I mean, I am I'm going to put a hat on a hat, and I'm going to win the individual battle, and I'm going to knock you out in the process. These guys, I feel like, are street fighting when they play. how do you, as a Saints team, what do you think that you can do against I think that, is there a toughness? Is there a Saints team? Is there some substance behind them that has a toughness to deal with that kind of tenacity that Carolina brings?
It's hard to say. At this point, they're, for lack of a better way of putting it, they're kind of at a crossroads, in a matter of speaking. Who or what they are is going to have to come to the surface now when, I mean, there's no playoff to shoot for, so to speak. About all that you're playing for from this point on, if you're not tanking for draft position, is going to be playing for your pride.
And playing for a roster spot on next year's team. Because
exactly.
What are they, I mean, really, when you look at the roster and you look at the team's record and where they are in full, they're going to have to be in full rebuilding mode. I think, I
believe they already are.
Right. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. I guess I'll start with this one. Is there a nucleus to this team that you can keep and start putting pieces around?
Okay, are you talking offense or defense?
Yeah, either one.
On offense, the mindset that you've had for a decade now of being able to put bodies around Drew Brees and win, that's gone. And I said from before training camp this year that if they got 2 more seasons, which I believe are both the last 2 on his contract, if they got those 2 seasons out of Brees, that would be it. Do I think that Garrett Grayson is the answer to life after Drew Brees? No, not a bit.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to find somebody to be the next franchise quarterback, because they don't have anyone on the roster that is going to, quote unquote, be Mr. New Orleans Saints the way that Brees has. And to be totally honest with you, I don't know if they find that guy anytime soon.
Do you think Drew Brees retires as a Saint?
I would like to see that, strictly for what he has done and meant to this franchise. Do I think that the competitive nature in him will subside enough for him to say, okay, when this is done, I'm through? I don't know about that. Because
how long do you think that? When do you think you'll have to make that decision? Is it next year? Are the Saints that close to it where next year they could try to deal Brees to a team? Say, what if Drew Brees went to Buffalo or Miami? These teams that have some piece.
Tannehill's there.
Yeah, but he sucks.
Yeah, he does, but they paid him all that money.
Nah, they didn't. They can get out of it. I promise you. That was a very organizational friendly deal. Do you think is that the
there's
move
a lot
to
of
make?
rumors
The Jets. What about the Jets? Be amazing.
There's a lot of rumors about not only the Jets, but you mentioned Miami. If all the rumors hold true and Peyton bolts from New Orleans to Miami, you have that.
Now that would be a marriage I could see happening. I could definitely see that happening.
You would be really surprised at the amount of people that believe whenever Brees leaves, Peyton's gone, and vice versa.
Makes sense to me.
I think you would want him gone.
Yes.
I think you would want him gone because you can't rebuild a franchise in that kind of, I don't know if it's a West Coast offense or what, that fast-paced, lot of plays, high-passing offense. That's a hard way to rebuild, to where, and so what I think you have to do is when you're in a rebuilding mode, and things go through cycles in the NFL, but you would feel like you're going to need to just be in games for the next 2 years. And that starts with playing with a defensive side. So Drew Brees could be on – do you think it's going to be next year? Just go ahead and tell us. Do you think it's going to be next year? He's gone, or do you think he's going to be Saint next year?
I believe he'll be there next year. I really do.
Okay.
Now, the question is going to be at the end of next season or between this season and next season, if they try to get him to rework that contract, add another year on the back end of it to spread some of that money out.
He'll do that. He'll do
next
that.
year's a big hit, isn't it? Like
It's ridiculous.
Million,
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, it's something like $20 million this year.
Yes, that's a
It's a
big
lot.
number.
It's like $20 million for like 3 consecutive years. It's a
and
ton.
then they can't, and you can't build and bring in talent when you're paying one guy that much money. It just makes it really hard.
Well,
And
you've got that on Breeze. You paid $54 million for Jairus Byrd, who has been there almost 2 seasons now and got his first interception this past Sunday.
He also played in his first game. I'm just kidding.
He's been on injured reserve so much.
Guys, he's like the Bird in Dumb and Dumber.
I was just actually wondering if it wasn't someone that was just wearing Bird's jersey.
And collecting his checks.
What about this? What about if I went into New Orleans and if I was the general manager, what I would do is I would try to deal Peyton, but I don't even think anybody in the NFL would pay for Peyton. I would just let the Saints fire him. Why trade for him unless it's something like very low, like a 6th round or a 7th round conditional pick? But what if you did this? What if you traded for Peyton a little bit, you got rid of Breeze, and you traded for him, and say you got like a 3rd and a 2nd for him, and then you traded Brandon Cooks, because Brandon Cooks is not going to be good on your team without Drew Brees. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be amazing. He's not going to be amazing. So what if you just did a fire sale? And Joey, guess who I want? Brandon Cooks. Put him on the Panthers.
Brandon Cooks is not going to the NFC South. You can forget it.
I know. He would never do that. But what would that be? Is that too radical? Am I out of my mind for saying if I was the GM, that's what I would do?
Well, on one hand, no, not really. But on the other hand, it's looking like there's a distinct possibility that this team may not win another game this season.
Mm-hmm.
That's
wow.
very,
Is it that bad?
Yes.
It's within the realm of possibility.
Why can't Mark Ingram run the ball at all? Is it the line?
Because Drew Brees doesn't turn around and hand it to him.
Well, I think that
I don't mean to be smug, but I mean.
No, yes, you did.
The plays aren't being called.
Okay. So that's not a winning formula anymore for you guys then.
You saw last year when they gave Ingram the ball, missed 2 games and was, what was it, like 40 yards away from a 1,000-yard season after missing 2 or 3 games with a broken wrist. And you were fortunate enough that the free agent market was flooded with running backs and you were able to get him at a discounted rate to afford to keep him. Why not use him? Makes no sense to me. And not only that,
because you can't, and that comes back to Sean Payton. Joey, we all knew this, is that Sean Payton can't run the ball.
He doesn't like to.
He doesn't. No, anytime he does it, the only reason he called a running play is because he knows people on the earth say that he doesn't want to run the ball.
Right, he doesn't like to run. It's not part of his system. I mean, it is. It is.
It's just not his nature. He's playing PS3, Madden. He's playing Madden, and he doesn't want to call a run play.
Something that I've noticed about Peyton. Peyton's going to do what Peyton's going to do.
Right.
And if you tell him, Coach, you really need to try this, he's just going to look at you and say, I'll be damned, I'm going to do this my way, and if we lose, we lose, but we're going to do it my way.
Right. Right.
And I hate to say that, but that's my observation.
What goes on with the GM after this season?
All indications from what I gather, the ownership is not going to do anything about the GM. He's in too tight with Mr. Benson.
Okay.
That seems to be the story that I hear.
Okay, which I can kind of see that. The owner's going to bring in somebody who he respects.
But
and
I will say this. I think there's a bit of a conflict of interest in that because Mickey Loomis is the general manager of not only the Saints but also the Pelicans.
Oh, I did
The
not
reason
know
that the Saints brought in Ireland from the Dolphins
Miami, yeah,
is because Loomis knows that he's not a football guy. He's great with the numbers and he does all of this and all of that with the financial end of it, but he's not a football guy. Ireland is.
Okay.
They've made that effort, but there's not really been enough time yet for them to decide whether that's been a good move or a bad move or just what yet.
All right, so looking at the defensive side of the ball, you have a couple of draft picks that you made this year that have turned out well. You have the defensive lineman from Clemson you drafted. His name escapes me.
Stephon Anthony.
He must be awesome.
Well, that's the linebacker. Stephon Anthony is who I'm thinking of. But in front of him, he was a later round draft pick. But
you're talking about Bobby Richardson.
I think so.
Yeah.
He on the D line, the defensive line.
Yes.
And you got him, you got Anthony, and then you got Kenny Vaccaro, who was a pick a few years ago and had an outstanding rookie season.
But he
just
stunk
played
it.
outstanding. But then since we haven't heard much from him.
Kenny Vaccaro would excel in a environments, say like Seattle's secondary, New England's secondary, where he had enough help around him that all he had to do was just be a heat-seeking missile.
Mm-hmm.
No real
Does
responsibilities.
Vaccaro play? Is it free or strong or corner? I should know this.
He's our safety. Yeah.
Free safety?
Yes.
I hear you, Tony.
Looking for one of them too.
We're not going to fight him.
Reason I'm asking is, if you look at if you want to say game plan or formula or whatever you want to call it, that Gettleman put together when he got to this team, he started on the defensive side and he started in the middle. Got a middle linebacker, got 2 defensive tackles, and then
the middle linebacker was with I don't think that was Gettleman's pick.
I think it was Hurney.
Yeah, it was Hurney, and then Gettleman's first draft as a GM was Starr and then K1.
Right, which is in the middle of the field again.
Yeah, just straight up 2 D tackles.
So what I'm saying is, if you look at that module and you try to replicate that, I think that is a good way to start rebuilding a franchise, strong in the middle on defense and strong in the middle on offense. And you plan around. You draft
chess. Oh, that's chess. That is chess right there. When I play chess, Joey, and I don't play chess very often, but I like my son, he is starting to get into it a little bit. And all I say is, somebody told me this a long time ago, you try to control the center of the board.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I think we even mentioned this on the show before, controlling the center of the field. Because outside you have talent and speed, but you also have the sideline, which can act as a 12th defender.
And there's a lot of distance when you start going laterally. You're adding distance, so that gives defensive players time to close on the outside. So I think that's an interesting point.
So that's what I'm suggesting, Sean, is, you've got Richardson, you've got Anthony, and you've got Vaccaro. So you guys, you've got a nucleus there on the defensive side of the ball.
Absolutely.
Those two guys that you brought in from Clemson really played well this season. I think they might have been banged up a game or two here or there, but they really played well overall, and I think that's something to build off of. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, you have a good center.
No, you don't. He's past. He missed it. He's past. He's over. You got 2 years out of him.
Is his contract over?
No. Is that they got him at the highest end of his career? He's at the apex. He's at the apex of his career, right? Do you see him getting better? How old is he? I'll look it up. What's his name again? Unger?
Yeah.
Unger. Max Unger.
I'll look it up. You guys talk about him. I'll look up his age.
So what I'm saying is there is a start. Obviously, Drew Brees is still a more than capable quarterback.
If he's upright.
Right, and you have a decent, pretty good running back in, what's his name, from Alabama. So, Mark Ingram. So if your coach would just freaking believe in the run game some, that could have really made a difference in this season. When you're putting the ball up 55 times in a game, I mean, my God.
40-year-old quarterback.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
Is he that old?
He's in his late 30s.
He can't be.
37?
Yeah, 37, 38. Yeah.
Wow, he's as old as Peyton.
He's in his 17th year.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
37-ish.
Max Unger
I'll put it
is
this way. He's third oldest starter in the league behind Brady, Peyton, and behind Brady and Peyton. He's the third.
Yeah.
He's like a day behind them then if he's 37. Max Unger, April 14th, 1986. He's 29.2 years old.
Oh, wow. So he's still on the way up.
Yeah,
So
I think he's got some time. All right, so I was wrong on that. He could probably, a center, he's going to play till he's, maybe 32?
Yeah.
33?
Right.
At the end, like you could get 33 more years out of him, maybe.
So I guess what I'm just trying to say is, you got to trying to see the good out of what's been a lost season, because this is a lost season.
No, there's no good. There's no good, Joey.
Well, trying to see positive, that's what you have.
All right, let's talk about this Panthers game a little bit. Let's make some predictions here.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's one you all can sing with us. When the Saints go marching in.
Joey.
Okay, there's my prediction. How about y'all's?
All right, so this game, is it in New Orleans or at Carolina?
New Orleans.
So it's on the road, Joey. On the road, in a place that used to be known as I used to do this when we used to make these types of predictions, Joey, and I felt like this wasn't long ago, like last season, where I was saying, going into New Orleans, I don't want to play there. That's a tough place to play. But they have lost so much at home. It has been destroyed like that bomb right there, Joey. Are you worried about this Panthers team going on the road 11-0? Is the road part. I didn't even think about that until just now.
No, I'm not worried. And I'll tell you, not because I'm cocky or arrogant, because that's definitely not the case. But I know this team. This team is one that wants to run the ball first, and they play excellent defense. And anytime your priority is to run the ball and play defense, you're going to play well on the road. and that's why I feel confident with the Panthers going into New Orleans. We've beaten them there the last 2 times we played, I think, maybe even 3.
Yep.
We spanked them last year at
Yeah.
the end. Like just beat the tar out of them.
So the Mercedes Superdome doesn't hold the mystique that it did at one time. And now I think the Panthers feel confident going in there. Like, hey, if we execute our game plan, we should win. My prediction is going to be that it's going to be closer than people think, but I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think the Panthers are going to win 28-10.
28-10. Sean, on the road, at home, fighting for pride. How do you think this game pans out?
Well, the only thing, the last thing that I have to go on is obviously what they've done lately. The defense, looking as it looks, is bad enough. But, all this time, we've always been able to depend on, no matter how bad the defense is, we still got Drew Brees to score points. And then you go into Houston, and all of a sudden you don't do that. There's always the possibility, however unlikely I would think with this Carolina team, that, as you were alluding to a while ago, that the team that's streaking the way that they are, they come in looking towards next week, maybe overlook the team that they're playing. I don't think that there's any real bad danger of Carolina doing that, because like I said, I've watched these guys over the past month, and I swear it's like they don't even know that they're undefeated. They're playing just like it's the first game of the season, flying around the ball, mate. And I do believe that Carolina is the team in the NFC right now to beat. They're playing bigger and stronger than any team in the NFC. There's possibility home game that the Saints show up with something. I don't look for it to happen. I've never been real good about.
Don't worry, nobody is. I'm gonna ice myself up later about my predictions.
Well, I would probably go about the same as what Joey said, maybe 28-10. Carolina.
Wow. I was gonna say 28-16 is what I was gonna say, and I feel like I should up it after listening to y'all. I thought maybe I need to make it like 34.
Well, you've got to understand though. I sit and I watch this defense every week, and it's like every game, it's progressively going down, going down, going down. You allowed 47 points by the Redskins, and you only allowed 24 by Houston.
That Redskins game, Joey, really bothers him. He's mentioned
you have
it.
no idea.
That seems to be the one.
That is the one. That just as well been a high school team beating us.
God, I didn't think the Redskins were that bad. I mean, we put it on the Redskins. I mean, Cam Newton threw 5 touchdowns.
Whatever it's worth, the Redskins are leading their division.
Yeah, but it's the NFC East.
It is. It's the NFC East.
Yeah, but hey, hold on. The NFC South ain't too awesome either.
The NFC East is going through what the NFC South went through last year.
And the AFC South is going through it too.
The AFC South is going through the same crap they've been going through forever. Now Peyton Manning just still doesn't play there.
Right.
And there's just not a single good team there.
No.
All right. This worries me. The reason this worries me is because I'm not worried about what the Panthers can do against this team. I just worry about what they are going to do. And a defense that's that bad, holy cow. I hope we don't sleep. You know what? I think we just keep it silky, smooth, and consistent, Joey. run the ball to Jonathan Stewart. I might be lowering my point total here. I'm talking now. I'm lowering it to 24-10. That's I think the Panthers say this. Let's not get cute. Let's not try to tell the world that we're going to score out. Let's just go out there and get business. Button up, bring the briefcase, and take care. Just put the deal away.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm lowering my score to 24-10 in that. So, Sean, what we do here is we at the end of the show, not only do we make our picks, but we issue what we call our Ice Up Picks of the Week. And that is where we tell somebody to toughen up, to get together in the spirit of Steve Smith when he told the rapper Aqib Talib Talib Kweli. At the first time I ever said it right, Joey, the very first time I said it right, I then called him a rapper. Is I've usually called him Talib Kweli, but we tell people somewhere on the earth to get it together and tough it up. Everybody is fodder. The NFL, we don't do politics here, but I've iced up a 12-year-old kid from Oklahoma before. So everybody is fair game. So we're going to get to that tonight. So if you have an ice up pick, you can stick around and issue one. Joey, what we need to tell them is holiday shopping. We need to get in just a couple of quick plugs before we get off the air tonight. Where should people, because we do this podcast every week. Every week. Joey's got no kidneys and on the road trying to get some, and he's here every week. Where should they then, every time they go and shop, go, and how should they get there?
Well, let me tell you this. If you're a Panther fan and you're anything like me, you hate having to leave the house to go shopping. My wife, not so much, but I won't do it. The great thing is Amazon is here. While checking out C3, while checking out our website, CarolinaCatChronicles.com, for all the hottest Panther news from the fans' perspective, take a look at the tabs up toward the top of the page. There you'll find the Shop tab. Click on that and start looking for whatever you want. And the greatest thing is you don't have to get off the couch for it. It's easy, convenient, and it will help you get your favorite. It will help your favorite Panthers podcast grow. It doesn't cost you anything extra. And when you're done, you can go right back to checking out all those interesting, awesome stories at CarolinaCatChronicles.com. So remember, if you shop Amazon, please go and do it through our website, CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We're here for you guys.
And while you're there, just go ahead. The perfect stocking stuffer is the Cam Wow.
Yes, it is.
The Cam Wow. I'm so proud of this.
$5, folks.
It's $5.
Camel right there, $5.
Sean, we made this. We came. We know an artist that commissioned the Cam Wow. This is entirely CarolinaCatChronicles.com, folks. Awesome. It really is. It's cool, ain't it, man? So you can get this. It's the perfect stocking stuffer for Panther fans. $5. You can't beat that. In fact, we barely make anything off. I should charge $10 for this wonderful thing right here.
Easy. But like we say, we're always focused on the fan. It's about the fan.
We're just trying to pay for the actual website, so we don't got to pay for it out of our pockets. But Joey, ice up time. You know what? I even got this for you. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. Greg Hardy, and we're not going to ice him up. I'm not going to waste my time on him. He didn't get one single statistic in the Panther game.
Nothing.
Joey, check this.
Nobody said that now, nothing like you say that now, nothing. Not a now, not a bit. I still don't know what that shit means, but it sounds good about it.
He didn't get a now nutter tackle. He didn't get a now nutter tackle. And you know what? Screw you, Greg Hardy, taking all of our money. I kind of even feel bad that I tried to defend him on the basis of waiting for the justice system to pan out.
It's just better. It's better the way that it worked out than we were wanting it to work out.
Yeah, and it worked out perfect. We went to the playoffs last year on a losing record. This year we're amazing, and then we went into your house and punched you in the face. So,
Yes.
all right,
That was
Joe.
more like a punch to the throat.
Yes, like a karate chop.
Flying
Joey,
sidekick.
yes. Joey, what do you got for us on the Ice Up picks this week?
Ice Up pick this week goes to a young man who really had the world on a plate. He screwed up, and yet the server came back with a remake of the world on a plate. And all he had to do was keep it together. Well, he screwed up again. I'm referring to Mr. Johnny Football.
Low hanging fruit.
Yeah, very low. But it's a shame because they went to this young man, the coach went to the young man and told him the starting job is yours for the rest of the year. You haven't done anything so great to earn it. We're giving it to you because we want to make sure you're our quarterback of the future. Giving him an incredible opportunity. And what does he do? He's got to go out, smack around his girlfriend, supposedly.
Yep.
He's got to
allegedly.
Go out, yeah, allegedly. He's getting pictures taken of him drinking at a party, coming down a slide into a pool. He's letting his friends do all, put all sorts of stuff out there on Instagram and your favorite Snapchat.
Right.
All that stuff, and it's just so dumb to me because he really was presented with a second chance, a golden opportunity, and he just whisked it away. And
it's because he's a rich boy.
It is because he's a rich boy, and
that's what it comes down to.
That's the point that they were making earlier when I was watching them talk about him this morning. That he's just been handed everything in his life, and he's never had to work for anything. Well, this is something he's going to have to work for now. He's going to have to work to get the respect back of his team and to get the opportunity to play this game that we love and supposedly he loves. So, Johnny Manziel, Money Manziel, I say to you, ice up, son, get it together. Let's see really if you can be a man or not.
Wow. All right. He looks like a little boy, though. I feel like he looks like if I was trying to play football, and I mean, but like a little bit in shape, a lot more in shape. But definitely wispy mustache. If I was gonna grow that mess out, I can't grow facial hair, dude. I can't do it. So, Sean, do you have an Ice Up pick for us this week?
Oh, let me see. Yeah, I think I do.
He's ready. I like this. I love where this is
Sean Payton.
Wow, straight
Coach,
for the throat.
Sean Payton. You have C.J. Spiller, Mark Ingram, Brandon Cooks, all guys that you have had on the main stage. You have turned around and handed them the football, and they have ran with it. You know that they are capable of doing this. Let them help you. Stop being so arrogant. Stop being stupid, and stop losing games. Sean Payton, ice up, son.
Well played.
Wow, he brought it, didn't he? That was good.
He did. I mean, we're going to have to just make him a co-host of this show. I think this is all of a sudden, I feel like he might be a Panther fan underneath there.
I know.
Oh, that's like talking about your mama. My bad. I didn't mean to do
wow. You had to go there, man.
I know. My ice up pick here, and don't worry, I'm coming right at myself on this one. I'm icing up myself, Joey. I am icing up myself because I went 5-7 in the pick'em this week.
Oh, wow.
And I go on my buddy's radio show every week, and we make our picks. And I got up there. I was on my vacation, and I did it. And I'm pretty good, Joey. And generally, I stay above 500. I think I was like 85-50 at some point in the season. I was doing all right. I started out hot. I was going weekly 10-3, 9-4, these types of things. And then, all right, Thanksgiving. We didn't count the Thanksgiving. By the way, that's not counting Thanksgiving. I would have gone 2-3, Joey, in Thanksgiving. I would have been okay. I picked Detroit. I picked the Panthers. But I think here is something goes like this. 5-7. I picked the Falcons to win. Ouch. Why did I do that? Because I thought it was a division game, them fighting. I mean, not a division game, but them fighting come out of a streak at home. I picked it because it was at home. Then I picked the Saints on the road because I thought Drew Brees was enough. Wrong. I got everything. Let me see. I picked the Giants on the road. Mistake. Every team I picked on the road lost, and every team I picked at home lost. Tampa Bay I picked. That was silly. The Jacksonville Jaguars, terrible. Tennessee Titans, awful. I think that's it. Oh, and then the stupid-ass Patriots. Losing it at the end, and the Browns as well. I suck. And I suck this week at picking my picks, Joey. I'm icing myself up. Ice up, Tony. That is terrible. And when you look at that, your teams that lost this week, you suck even more than me.
Well, you know, guys, I don't know if either of you are aware of this. I think it was before last week, 20 teams, 20 of the 32 teams in the league were playing below 500 football.
Wow. That is terrible.
That is terrible.
That's terrible.
And
we're either in an age where there's just that much parity among the teams in the league, or, as you say, there's just a lot of teams that suck right now.
Well, you know that the league salary cap was supposed to bring parity to the NFL. And
I think
it did. This is a bad year, and it's just this: is the Panthers are awesome. That's what it comes down to. 11-0. We got to get out of here, guys. It is a late show tonight. Sean,
thank you guys so much.
No, here, tell us this before you leave. Tell all of our listeners how they can find where they can find you on social media and where they can find your work.
I am the lead analyst and staff manager for the New Orleans Saints for ProFootballSpot.com, and you can find me on Twitter at DrewsDad3721, on Facebook on the Who Dat Nation Redemption page, and on the Pro Football Spot New Orleans Saints forum.
That sounds great. Joey, where can they get after you, brother?
All right, I am Joe Rilano, a.k.a. the Freaking Puerto Rican. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Rilano. And tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, we do the Southbound and Down NFC South premiere podcast, 10 o'clock. Make sure you check it out. We'll have some very interesting storylines going with all that's happening in the NFC South. So be sure and tune in.
This is the C3 podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. I am Tony Dunn, a.k.a. The Professor. You can find all of our work on the website, hashtag us on C3, and follow us on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. Thanks for joining the show, folks. We will see you next Tuesday, 10 p.m., live, 12-0, baby.